The balloons fluttered weakly in the warm summer breeze, their pastel colors dancing in the golden light. A long table sat under a white canopy in the backyard of a glassy mansion on the hill, decorated with princess-themed plates, glittering streamers, and a towering cake topped with a sugar tiara. But the seats were empty. All of them. On one side of the table, in a specially designed wheelchair adorned with pink ribbons, sat 8-year-old Elara Chen, paralyzed from the waist down since the accident 9 months ago. "She's not coming?" Elara asked softly, her voice barely louder than the wind. Her wide brown eyes searched her mother's face. Claire Chen, the CEO of Chen Tech Industries, knelt beside her daughter and tucked a loose strand of hair behind Elara's ear. Her designer heels sank slightly into the grass. "No, sweetheart." Layla's mom texted. "They're busy today." Elara looked down at her lap. "That's okay," she whispered. But Claire knew it wasn't. This wasn't the first cancellation. It was the 12th. Elara's entire second-grade class had been invited, and not a single one had shown up. Despite the face she put on for her daughter, Claire's heart ached. She had fought tooth and nail to climb to the top of the corporate world, always believing that power could solve anything. But she couldn't command friendship. She couldn't schedule compassion into someone else's calendar. She looked around helplessly, at the untouched cake, the unopened juice boxes, the fairy wings neatly laid out on the grass for dress-up. And most of all, at Elara, who tried so hard to smile, even as her eyes shimmered. Then, just as Claire reached for her phone to tell the staff to start packing up, she heard a voice. "Hey, is this the birthday party?" Claire turned. A man stood awkwardly at the edge of the yard, holding a little girl's hand. He wore jeans with a worn spot at the knee and a t-shirt that had clearly been through more than one wash cycle. The girl was about Elara's age, with messy pigtails and bright, curious eyes. Claire straightened, surprised. Yes. It is. But I'm afraid." The man gave a sheepish grin. "We were just at the park next door. Saw the decorations. My daughter asked if we could say hello. She's never seen a party like this before." The girl tugged on her father's hand and looked up at Claire. "I'm Zoe. I like your balloons." Elara blinked. "Hi," she said, unsure but hopeful. "I'm Elara." Claire knelt beside her daughter again, whispering, "Do you want to invite them to stay?" Elara nodded slowly. Her voice was barely a breath. "Yes, please." Claire turned back to the man. "Would you two like to join us?" The man smiled. "We'd love to. I'm Noah, by the way." Zoe didn't hesitate. Within minutes, she was sitting beside Elara, both girls giggling as they tried on the butterfly wings. Elara's laughter rang out like wind chimes, tentative at first, then stronger, fuller, real. Noah helped hand out cupcakes, cutting them carefully to avoid the frosting flowers. "This is some party," he said to Claire, who had taken a seat nearby, unsure of what to do with her hands. Claire gave a tight smile. "It was supposed to be." He looked at her. "Hard day?" She hesitated, then sighed. "You could say that. No one came. I guess, people don't know how to be around a child in a wheelchair." Noah nodded, his expression gentle. "Kids can be brutally honest. And parents, they can be scared. Or unsure. But that's not your daughter's fault." Claire looked at him, surprised by his frankness. "I'm a single dad," he continued. "Lost my wife 3 years ago. I've learned that people don't always know what to do with grief or difference. So they avoid it." "She was in a car accident," Claire said, her voice breaking slightly. "A drunk driver. They say she might never walk again." Noah's face softened. "I'm sorry. That's heavy for anyone. But she's still smiling. That's something." Claire watched as Elara and Zoe took turns spinning a music box and pretending it was a royal dance tune. Elara was clumsy with the upper half movements, but Zoe didn't care. She cheered her on like it was a real ball. "She hasn't smiled like that in months," Claire whispered. As the sun dipped lower, painting the sky with streaks of orange and lavender, Elara clapped her hands. "Let's play hide and seek." Noah hesitated. Elara, are you sure you want to?" "Yes," Elara said firmly. "Zoe can hide. I'll count." And so, Zoe darted behind bushes and under the table while Elara covered her eyes and counted loudly. Noah and Claire laughed quietly from the side, swapping stories between bursts of giggles from the girls. For a moment, Claire forgot about shareholder meetings, product launches, and stock reports. For a moment, she was just a mother watching her daughter reclaim her joy. After the third round, Elara grew tired. Claire wheeled her back to the table, and Noah helped carry the now slightly sagging cake. "Make a wish," Zoe urged. Elara looked at the candle, then at Zoe, and finally at her mom. "I already got it," she said. Claire had to look away so Elara wouldn't see the tears rising. As dusk settled, Noah stood up, brushing crumbs from his shirt. "We should head home. Bedtime for us." Zoe ran over to hug Elara. "You're my new best friend," she said. "Do you want to come to the park tomorrow? We bring bubbles." Elara beamed. "I'd love to." Claire stood as well. "Thank you," she said to Noah. "For today. For showing up." He shrugged. "Sometimes, showing up is the most important thing." She hesitated. "Would you, maybe, like to come by again sometime? Maybe dinner?" Noah looked at her, then at Zoe, who was now waving like mad at Elara. He smiled. "Yeah. I think we'd like that." 1 year later. There were still fairy wings, balloons, and cupcakes. But this time, the yard was full of children. Some from Elara's class. Some from the local community center. A few used wheelchairs too. And at the center of it all, Elara and Zoe danced in their own way, spinning and laughing, surrounded by love. Claire stood beside Noah, holding his hand. It had started with one empty party. And one single dad who asked, "Can we join you?" Sometimes, that's all it takes to change a life.